All right, after one more week, they drained her down, which is funny because we've had a good nectar flow, but there you go. That's how much they'll use, even when they're pulling out the wax on the comb. We probably want to feed them more because they are drawing out foundation. All right, if you're brand new to me or my channel, this is a decade or two of a feeder I invented a decade or two ago. Screen here, I can put my jars. As you can see, the bees are contained below it. It makes for really good swapping out your sugar that you're feeding your bees so you don't get stung. And it's good in the fall because if you feed in the entrance in the fall, your bees are going to get robbed out. So we're feeding our bees now, even though there's a nectar flow, we're feeding them because we're drawing out foundation on undrawn comb. Now this hive, if you're watching this video, we're doing a weekly inspection of this hive because it is a package. So I'm trying to go along with like a brand new beekeeper would to see what you would experience if you're inspecting your bees, you know. And last time we got in there, they were drawing out some wonky comb, and I think I see some more. So we'll just keep looking in, and I'll show you how to keep battling foundation. The foundation I used for the most part, I did not, you know, coat it or double coat it. It was just what the factory sent. And it was not what I normally use as acorn foundation. But I did drop by. Here's a frame here that I corrected when I did my last inspection a week ago. Let's take out a frame over here since no bees are on it. I used red wax because I had some left over from an experiment I did showing how much bees will use the wax that you give them. Let me pop in here real quick. We got a lot more video to go here, but I want to encourage you to come to my live stream. It is the world's largest weekly beekeeping podcast. Hundreds of beekeepers every Thursday, 7 p.m. Central Time. I got a huge giveaway coming up in the next few weeks. I want to pump that up for you guys to take advantage of that. So check me out. Here's the link right here. Now let's get back into working this hive. I wanted to go along with you guys and we'll just kind of monitor what a package does when you install 10,000 bees with a mated queen. We got off to a rough start because of a mistake I made with the frames and all. Some of you thought the bees were going to abscond, but they've stuck around. All right, I want to show you this frame. Okay, it's a little stuck together. Always notice what I'm doing so you can kind of learn how to inspect a hive if you're new to beekeeping. Notice how I hold my hive tool in my hand. I use these fingers here to be able to pick up the frame. So here is a frame. They're not drawing it out too badly, are they? I can see that they are drawing it kind of funny right here, but normally I'm okay with that. And that's a nice frame of eggs. So let me move some. It's always hard to get the camera to focus on eggs, but we'll give it another try. It's a little windy where I'm at here too. All right, so I'll just see if maybe the camera will be fortunate to perhaps show you what it looks like. Okay, so when you see eggs like that, you want to look carefully for the queen, because if she laid eggs, that means she is very close by. I don't see her. Now let's see what's going on the other side. Okay, handful of bees doing a little bit of work over here. Those poor bees, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bees over there, 7 bees working hard. All right. I always like to keep a few packages that we sell just so that I can monitor, see how well they do or don't do. Hopefully do. All right, let's see what's going on here. I'm trying to keep my hand out of the camera. That's why I'm holding it kind of funny. All right, let's see what's on this frame. Ooh, okay, we got some good looking stuff. Young pearly white larvae right there. So immediately I know no European foul brood because you can see that pearly white, looks good. And it's got really good cap brood right up here. Let me move some bees for you. So this is the capped over pupae, and it's real good brood pattern. You know, it means it's solid, not a bunch of spotty brood. That means if it was spotty, it means you might have a queen issue, but that looks very good. Let's see the other side. Same thing over here, looks very good. Beneath those bees is a good brood pattern. So the brood of honeybees go from egg, larvae to pupae. This is a pupae stage when they cap it over. Some of you ask, how can you tell the difference between capped over honey, capped over pupae or bees? Maybe I'll pick a frame up that I have both on there. I'll show you. I don't see the queen on that frame with a quick glance, so let's keep looking. All right, let's give them a little smoke so we can work them. So yeah, these bees are drawing out some wonky comb, some old frames that I was using that I did not coat with beeswax. And so I'm trying to recover from that. So finally got my acorn shipment in, and that's good. But I haven't put any acorn frames in here yet. I just coated them. Now, this one did have a bunch of, if you remember, some fat honey at the top. And look how I kind of tore that open a little bit when I was separating the frames, but that's okay. There's our blue dot queen. And wow, what a solid frame of brood. Pupae capped over, very good brood laying pattern. There's some spots in there, but that is a lot of bees. When they emerge, shoot, that's just about 3,500 new bees that will be emerging any day now. That's a lot of bees. That's a third of a package. All right, and on the other side, the same darn thing. So we'll call this frame 7, about 6,000 to be fair, 6,000 new bees that's going to be coming out. Now, even though I can see the queen, she's healthy, the brood all looks good, eggs, larvae, pupae, my inspection is actually done, but I'm going to look anyway because, again, I'm trying to battle some of the weirdly drawn foundation. And so the best thing to do is correct it when you can. Now, if you remember, I had one frame, I don't know which it was, that was drawn out and I just left it. It was drawn out wrong by the bees and it had too much good stuff on it. You know, it had some brood. I think it's this one, but yeah, it's this one. But I didn't want to tear it up, you know, scrape it off because it had too many good resources on it. So I'll show you what it looks like now. We left it because it had some brood, it had some pollen, but look at it now. All right, I don't see any brood on it. It just has a lot of pollen. Now we're having a pollen run, so now is the time to fix this frame. And some of you have been wanting me to show you, David, what do you do if you have a frame of wonky comb like that? How do you fix it? All right, pay attention, students. So the queen isn't here, right? We saw her on a different frame. We're not going to lose any brood. We're going to lose a little honey and some pollen stored in the frames here, but that's fine. It's the season where there's a lot of pollen. So we're going to get the bees off of this, and then we're going to put an acorn frame in here in its place. And that'll give me time to clean this one up, and I think I'm just going to not use this one. It's a little aged. The foundation is a little bit old. I could wax it, but since I got so much acorn foundation, I'm going to put another sheet in here. So do you want to work with me while we do this? I'll walk you through it, okay? How to do that. But let's set that over here so the queen doesn't get back on it. Let's set it on the ground over there. Now let's look at our last frame. Now this last frame is a frame. Did I coat this one? Did I beeswax coat the last one? I think so. Felt like I did, but let's see. Oh yeah. See if it's a red wax coated frame. I can't recall. I'm inside so many hives every day. I can't recall what I do from day to day. Ooh, the queen has laid some eggs over here, and it's drawn out beautifully. And this is drawn out beautifully as well. All right, now here's another one that they are working on that I put in a week ago, and it's a red wax frame. Look at this, they're already starting to work it. Look at that, they're pulling out the red wax. Isn't that great? I did this experiment to show people that they do indeed use the wax that you give them, and it saves time because they don't have to go out and metabolize eating nectar to make wax from their wax glands. They can use what we give them. All right, well, all is good there. So the only thing going on that we don't like in this hive is the one frame of wonky comb, and we're going to work through it. Okay, going to be fun. How you guys doing today? Hope you're doing okay. The weather for me has been hit and miss. I've had unbelievable windy days. So I've got hives scattered around buildings. So when the wind's out of one direction, I can work those hives. When the wind shifts, now the wind's out of the west. So I've got a berm that is giving me shelter today from the wind a little bit. So let's put our frames back the way they go. We're going to wait because we're going to have to put that one there, aren't we? So let's get to work on this frame here. All right, this is going to be fun. David, what do you do? I had at least 3 or 4 of you that said, boy, I wish you could show us what do you do when you get that mess, right? Okay, so it's really simple. The first thing we're going to do is get the bees off. Now, we already confirmed that the queen is not here. And all of these bees, for the most part, are worker bees. And you might find a drone in here. Kind of not seeing one right now. But, you know, they're just doing their thing with this comb. Probably putting nectar, mostly pollen. And so what we want to do is get the bees off. There's a couple of ways you can do it. You could brush them off. But then the bees get really flighty. And they start flying everywhere. So I like to, what I call, knock them off. Now, bees are exoskeleton. That means that they have a hard outer shell. And, you know, when they're flying, they bump into each other. They don't get hurt. And so they're pretty tough. And so what I like to do is you can shake them. You can just take this frame. You want to shake them down into the hive with some pressure and shake them really hard. I did it softly just to show you what I mean. But you could shake them off. By shaking them off, they're going to go down in there and climb up on a different frame. Or what you could do, you could brush them off, you could shake them off, and also what you can do is knock them off. I like knocking bees off because it's just quick and effective, and it doesn't hurt bees. So what I like to do before I do the procedure is make sure I smoke all the bees well, because this will be jarring. You know, if something starts making a lot of noise, bees have to get airborne. Smoke this frame with the bees on it like this. It will kind of soften them up a little bit in their temperament. And there's no bees on the edge, so I can just take my frame like this and kind of toss it down and let it catch. And when I do, the bees fall into the hive, and look what else happened. Which is fine because we're going to replace it, but the frame broke. So my frame should be able to withstand that, but maybe I did it a little too hard. So we'll fix that in the shop. All right, so there are still some bees on here, and again, we can keep tapping it until we get this cleaned up. Let's try it again. Just smoke them a little bit. Yep. All right, I didn't know my own strength there. So now we can tap it this way. I'll just get it in camera. We'll hold on to the foundation. Well, you know what? Let's take the foundation off. Can we get by with that? Just pull it out of the groove down there. It's kind of like propolized in, but I'll get it out. I'll start on this end and pull up. Here it comes. Well, bees are good about building things so they don't fall apart. All right, so here's our frame. Look at that wonky comb frame. Get the rest of the beads off. Now we can just take it and start tapping like this. All right, we got 90%, 99% of the bees off. The rest of them will fly away as we take that into the shop. So we got 2 things to do in the shop. We're going to take this in there, work in there, and then we'll come back. Now, meantime, while we're in the shop, what I want to show you is I don't want to leave this hive open for obvious reasons. I'm going to put it all back together temporarily. So I'm just going to I'm not going to be out of this hive more than maybe half an hour. And so I'm just going to put some frames back in there like this to keep them from giving them something to do. Okay. Now we're going to just put the top cover on, not the feeder, because remember, we're coming back in 30 minutes to put it all back together and start feeding them again. And that's why I like keeping a lot of these hives back here. You know, like I've got some over there, and then I have some over here. And this allows me to get into my shop and my tools a lot quicker. Here's the shop door. I don't have to travel all the way down the road to do that. All right, so we'll go over here to our shop. Yeah, and so we have our comb here. I'll show you what we're going to do in just a minute. And here's our frame. Now the frame, as I looked at it, it has some age on it. It really is a frame that it has weakened because it has a lot of life, not much life left. But for fun, I'm going to replace it because I don't want to put it back in the hive unless I'm really impressed with it. So I need something right now. I'm going to have to glue this to make it all set up better, so I don't have time to wait for the glue to dry and everything. If you're in a pinch, I'm sure you could just hammer it all back together and be, you know, almost all the way there. So let's see what would happen. Yep, see, I'm getting it pretty level, pretty tolerable. This little piece broke right here, and you can see the staple has pulled out. This is a side staple that shot from the outside edge into the meat of the top bar, and that's, you know, you'd think they would hold better, but that's what broke. So it was actually shot a little bit low when it was built, instead of getting up tighter into this meat. And so when I make mine, I get into this piece here, but it was only in this section right here, and that's why it broke kind of easy. Now, if you look close, you can, let me get up a little closer to the camera. You can see this frame has a little bit of wax moth damage to it at one time, but that's not going to be, you know, that bad. But the part that makes me not feel good about it is this bottom bar, because that's been broken for a while. You can tell by the dirt in the crack. And so I'm not happy about using this frame. There's not much I can do with that bottom corner that's busted like that. And again, you can tell the age on it. And so it's just going to be time to replace it. But if you did want to repair it and keep using it, you know, you could replace the bottom bar. You know, sometimes you can buy a whole bunch of frames at a time and just have pieces to keep old frames going. You can buy unassembled frames. And I do have a new bottom bar I could put on there. But look, I've got this that I pulled out. This year I bought hundreds of Acorn Foundation. Look at this, you got a stack of them right here. Isn't that, this is only double coated. They make a triple coated. Dang, look at that. Get up close with the camera. That's got some wax on it, friends. Look, this is not a paid promotion, but I used this last year for the first time, and I love it. I mean, the bees love it. They pull it out fast. So for me, this frame here, when I started with my package of bees, it wasn't in best of shape. As you can see, it was just an old frame that I had in storage that I had never used. And I think when you do that, some of the wax kind of just evaporates or melts away. Bees could add their own wax, but to be honest with you, I have had yellow foundation that's not waxed really well. I've found that the bees will do this to it a lot. And so now let's take this in stages. Let's say that you did have this in a frame and you did want to use it again. What would be the steps you would do it? And then I'll show you what I'm going to do. Let's take this frame. I already pulled out the 5-6-year-old foundation plastic and all that I didn't like, and I'm just going to put a new sheet of the Acorn Foundation in. I'm doing about, I don't know, maybe 100 deep boxes. So what you want to do is get rid of the mess around the wood so that you have a brand new frame essentially without any comb on it to work with. If you're really fast like I am, you can clean up this frame really fast. Ready, set, go. All right, I'm back with you. A little fast motion there, and it cleaned up really nice. They make a little special tool, beekeeping companies do. If you want to get down in that groove, it's like a bent coat hanger with a handle on it and a hook, and you can rake that through there. If you're really good on a grinder, you can get the tip of your J-hook and grind that smaller so that it fits down into the groove like this. And boy, that cleans it out good too. I always grind my J-hook hive tools. If you're a viewer of my channel, you've seen, I think twice I've made videos on how these come really big at the end, and I make them really nice and small this way and that way, so they're a better tool for me in the bee yard and things, projects like this. Yeah. And so we're just cleaning out the groove. Now this groove needs to be clean enough for my new foundation to fit in there. And so I just scraped that out real quick. It's not essential, but one of the tips I want to show you about putting in a new piece of foundation, or even the old piece back in, if it doesn't seat well and deep, what can happen, it can be bowed. And if the foundation that you put in here, if you put it in here and this is too short of a distance, it might bow like this. And if it bows like that, guarantee you, wonky comb, you got to have a straight sheet. So that's important for me to get the grooves cleaned up. Okay, so let's go ahead and put this back in there. I would not advise you, you can correct it in the field if you want to. In our case, it broke and it's just easier to come back in here and work on it. Anything I can do in the air conditioning where I can sit down and not have bees around me, I'll take advantage to do that. But if you wanted to do this in the field, you could. Just have to have some tools out there. All right, so here we go. This is the wonky comb. Now, a couple of questions. Let's get them right off the bat. There's some honey here. I will definitely eat that. It looks too tasty. In fact, I'm going to grab something right now to eat it with. I don't have a spoon, so let's use a screwdriver. Let's get all the last work off of it, like maybe a muffler job or something. Might have rust on it, but look at that chunk of wax, piece of dirt. But here we go. I'm going to just put my mouth. Oh yeah, that's good. All right. Well, anyway, you could eat that if you wanted to. Capped over honey, chew the wax, fun stuff. Oh gosh, that's good. I don't recommend putting this pollen out in the yard to let the bees, consume it, because that is really good for a small hive beetle. Small hive beetle would love that. So what you want to do is not a lot. I know it seems like a lot, but during a season right now where they're bringing in a lot, they're going to make up that in a day. But what we want to do is just get that off if you're going to reuse this frame. Oh, I actually ate some pollen. I used to eat pollen when I was a runner. I didn't even keep bees way back when I was in my 20s, but I ate pollen. I got some pollen. That was good. Thinking about eating some more pollen, actually. Look at all that good pollen. You see that? And for fun, I could grab a chunk of this comb that has pollen and bee bread and eat that. Yeah, I'm going to eat this piece right here. Look at all that rich pollen in there. That's the reason I'm living to be 95 years old. Oh, by the way, subscribe to my channel, because at the rate that you guys are subscribing, I think I have to live to be 83 years old to reach 1 million subscribers. So if I keep eating like this, yeah, maybe I'll make it. All right. back to work while I eat this pollen. Oh, shop cows are here because it's going to be messy. I really do like the taste of pollen. It has a lot of good nutrients in it. Just put it over there if you don't want to eat it yourself. Oh yeah, it's going to be messy. I would recommend don't get honey everywhere, especially if you're doing this in the fall and you're outside, because it will induce robbing, start up some bad robbing behavior. All right, we're just scraping this off. See, a lot of you ask, how do you do that, David? You scrape it off. No science to it. You don't have to really no right or wrong way. Just get it off of there, right? Whatever turns your crank to get that off of there. Now, this piece, the way that you can reuse it is re-wax it. You can add your own wax to it, and you can make it look like a sheet of this again, and give the bees a better chance to draw it out straight and nice. If you want to mop up the extra honey so that your wax might adhere better to the foundation, that would be a good thing to do. You can use a pressure washer, water hose, something like that. Just be careful. You take this outside and it's the fall, this will cause a lot of bees to show up and just take your whole yard over. Okay, so I'll show you right here. You would take it and you would begin to just remove any, that's new foundation, new comb there, but you would just take off everything, get it all knocked down even, and then you would just roll on new wax. Where do you get wax? The best place to get wax is your own wax. This is going to take a lot of washing. Cappings from your honey supers after you harvest your honey this year is going to be your best stuff to save. I don't need to wax this because I already bought hundreds of sheets of acorn foundation ready to go. Look at that. Love it. Snap it in the grooves, top groove, bottom groove frames. And once you get it in place, make sure that it's not bowed out. Let me show you. You'll hear the snap. Listen. Oh, isn't that great? You can take it like this, make sure that it's in there good. Take a hammer and just, tap it in case it's hanging up on a little bit of wax or something. So it should move just a little bit. Like, see how it moves? There's no tension to make it bow. So now we need to take that back, put it in the hive. It's ready to rock and roll. We'll take the top off. So we threw these frames in here just to buy 30 minutes of time. And what we want to do is put all of our brood back together, because some of you may be wondering, David, isn't it time to add another deep? Well, not really, because if you look at the frames, they only have about 4.5 frames that are drawn out nicely. My rule is the 5-7 rule. And we're not quite at 5, and we're certainly not near 7 yet, okay? So what we want to do is push these 4.5 frames of brood or resources back together in the middle. But here's the deal. We might experiment a little bit now with actually doing a little bit of checkerboarding. Now, checkerboarding is not really a term, or the actual checkerboarding idea is for honey supers. But people do it in the brood nest, and it's not always recommended. And the reason is because, you have cap brood here needing to be kept in the 90-degree Fahrenheit range, 92 or so. And there's brood on this side at 92, and when they're pushed together, they're able to heat that. But we're in good weather, and it's getting warmer in the daytimes now, so they won't have trouble keeping that warm. So let's go ahead and put this frame in here. See, this is the one we just made up, new foundation. So we're going to put it in here, and then what we'll do is see if they will indeed draw that out nicely. They should. Put down when we put it in here. 5. I forgot the date. I think it's the 15th. Thursday the 15th. It's close enough. 25. All right. New Acorn Foundation, AF. Ooh, that looks like American Foulbrood. Let's spell out foundation because I don't have American Foulbrood. There we go. Okay. Be like that. Red paint. All right, so 5/15/25, new foundation in the middle. Oh, another thing you guys are always asking me about, David, how do you not smash bees when you put frames back together? So let me move my camera. I'm a one-man show today. All right, so let's see, where would I put the camera? Maybe it's a little tricky to get it where I want it. I want it to be over the hive. I'm kind of irritating the bees doing this. That'll work. Okay, so I don't want to smoke them because I want to show you how I do this, but I need to smoke them because they're not happy at what I'm doing. But so let me just try to pull it off without smoking. So you see, if I want to move this frame over to that frame, there's too many bees right there. So one of the things you should do is smoke all the bees there, they go away. If you don't smoke them, then you can actually pick this frame up higher so the curved part touches and it moves the bees. Let me show you both techniques. This will move most of them out of the way by smoking them. Look at that. Go ahead and calm these bees down. I have no gloves on today. All right. Now, so if you want to move this frame, you could slide it that way, but if there's bees here and there's bees there, you see them, they're going to get squished, right? So watch both ends. Don't watch just one side. I'm trying to keep my hand out of the way. Let me move to this side. That way, yeah. Okay, this is not how I normally do it, but it'll help you see better. So instead of smashing bees against that wooden area where they touch, you can come up higher and down there, bring it together where it's indented a little bit, the frame is, without smushing any bees, and then slide it, just watch both of them, but slide it against the wood as it goes down, and it forces bees out of the way without hurting them. Now make sure when you set it down, there's no bees under this, and the only way to tell is to let it down very gently and let bees move out of the way. Okay, well that was a little difficult scene to get, but we got it, I think. All right, so let's go ahead and set this back up. And that way we can get this hive fed. I already mixed up some sugar water too. I'm going to show you how I'm going to feed these bees. Let's get this camera set. Okay, that's good. Whew. Okay, let's smoke a little bit. The bees populated well, and we have nearly 2 full frames of bees that are ready to emerge, which would be roughly 12,000 bees. So a whole nother package will arrive when they emerge, essentially. All right, so we checkerboarded that one. We don't want to checkerboard the next one, so we're just going to move this one back in position, okay? So that way we keep a little tighter brood nest area. All right, so pick this up. Bees are in the corner over there, so we're going to practice our skill. I'm going to get them off. Okay, so we'll put all these bees back together again using that slide technique there. And then gently push it down in position. And now we have our undrawn frames over here. The red wax frames, remember? Experimental frames using red wax, no other purpose. Get those in position over there. Here's that one that we corrected the columns on. And it's going to be in a different position now. It doesn't really matter, does it? Now, when you have a frame like this one here, that does, let's move that bee out of the way, that doesn't want to go down, you can push it down by doing that with your hand, but keep it riding along the wood on the frame next to it, the side wood, or it'll flop into a groove and not line up good. All right. And remember, this is not balanced good. Let me show you. There's not enough space here on the left side, but there's a bigger gap on the right side. So the way to fix that, you can tell it's right here at the end of my hive tool. this frame here has a bigger gap. That can cause frames to be pulled incorrectly. So we want to close the gap between each frame like that. Now we've tightened every single, that sidebar is tight now, I can see it. And our gaps are equal on that side. We've got to do the same over here now. So just take your hive tool and just work it until they slide tightly together. Yeah, when we opened it up today, they ate the entire jar, consumed it. So let's go ahead and give them another jar. So let me show you that in just a second. So let's put this in position. Now the bees are safely below our screen here. Here's the sugar water that I mixed up. If you're new to my channel, if you've never seen me do this, I've done this for almost 2 decades. 1-to-1 sugar water, a teaspoon of protein powder made for bees. You can get them in any bee store. And then I have maybe a teaspoon of Honeybee Healthy and a teaspoon of Amino Bee Booster protein, liquid protein. Make sure the jar is tight. I turn it upside down just for a second here and let the vacuum take over so that it won't drip on the bees. And now we put it in the center, like right there. So what we'll do next is take a spare empty deep box with nothing in it. Now that's a old timer beekeeper, a couple of decades ago, gave me a whole 55-gallon barrel full of these jars. Half-gallon smallmouth. Those are hard to find, under 3-inch lids, so that's good. Anyway, we'll put that there and square everything up. I'm just going to feed them 1 jar, and that'll help them draw out that comb faster to metabolize that sugar water into wax. I'm going to put our top cover on. We've been having terrible storms, so this will help hold that down during a thunderstorm. So I've been making a video once a week showing you the progress of that package bee, and I hope you're enjoying it, maybe learning some things. Those of you that are brand new to beekeeping and you started with the package, you can kind of compare, see if you're ahead of me or behind me, how things are going. But boy, they finally picked up the pace. I think we've been a little bit suffering from high winds, off and on rain, so they haven't really been able to get out as much as I'd like. But we have a lot of black locusts right now. Makes the big white pods, and those trees are such in bloom right now. Tomorrow we only have a 5-mile-an-hour wind, beautiful day, and I think the bees are going to spend all day long working really hard. I'm going to get back to work. It's almost sundown, and I got to put some supers on about 15 hives. So we need to get some supers on those hives and let them start bringing in that nectar. Yeah, that's going to be good. Have you thought about raising queens? I love raising queens. The funnest thing I do. It is. I love that most of all in beekeeping. I've got a lot of good queen rearing videos here on YouTube, but I also have an online queen rearing course that you can take with me. I'll show you how to graph timing. It's from the book that Dr. John Zavishlak and I wrote, Raising Quality Queens. And last week on my live stream, I'm entering a series on my live stream talking about raising queens. Check that video out right here about why you want to raise queens. See you guys over there.